Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Mina and today's video is going to be something so very fun. I have done a video like this in the midway point of this year, and that video was where I read a bunch of some of my most anticipated reads of the year. I had the best time and I still look fondly back at that video because I read so many great books and I had the best time doing it. And so I decided to do a part 2 where I will be reading some of the most anticipated reads I have of the second half of the year, because there are so many good books that are coming out and there are some that I have my eye on that I want to read. So that is what we're going to be doing in this video. So I hope you're excited. I am so excited because the very first book that we're going to be starting this video with is none other than Air by Sabaa Tahir. If you don't know, this book is a part of the Ember in the Ashes series, and if you haven't read it, I don't know where have you been. It's having a resurrection right now. It's very popular. I read it way back in the day when it had just come out and the second book wasn't out at the time. It is one of my favorite series of all time. I love Sabaa Tahir. I love everything that she writes. She is one of my favorite authors of all time. And so when I found out that she was making this book in the same world as the Ember in the Ashes series, I was so excited for it. This is definitely one of my most anticipated reads of the year. I love these characters and I love this world and I love this universe, and I am beyond excited that this is going to be the first book that I read in this video, because I feel like this video is going to be full with a bunch of amazing, incredible 5-star reads. That is what I am anticipating, so I hope you're anticipating that with me. Without further rambling, because I really want to get into this book. I'm so ready to get into it. So without further rambling, let's get into it, because what else are we waiting for? Started with Air by Sabaa Tahir, and I am now on page... I stopped in the middle of a chapter. I'm on page 140. I think I want to read a little bit more of this today. This book follows like some of the cutest characters I've ever read about. We follow Saoirse, Quill, and Ace, and I love them so much. If you've read the Ember in the Ashes quartet, I'm not going to spoil it for you because I feel like I don't want to do that. This is going to be a spoilery-free vlog, but if you've read those books, then you know like how just absolutely devastating they are. And following the characters in this book and seeing the like cameos from the first quartet in this book was such a great like surprise. I didn't think that was going to be a thing, and one of the characters actually is such a surprise to me because I didn't think that was gonna be a thing in this book, but I'm so glad that it is because I love those characters so much and reading about them is so fun, and being back in this world is amazing. Sabaa Tahir's writing is absolutely insane. This woman and the characters and the lines that she can craft just from her brain, she's such a genius, and she writes in such a way that captures your attention immediately. I just got to the part where all 3 of the characters that we're following are, or like most of the characters that we're following are beginning to meet each other, and like we're starting to see it come together. I hope that I'm able to get a little bit further in today. I don't know when I'll have time to read, but I really want to get further into it because I want the action to start. So far the action is happening, but it's just now beginning to happen, and so I feel like once I read a little bit more in it, then I will start to get to know the characters a little better and the premise a little better. I am so happy to be back in this world. This is absolutely one of my most favorite reads of the year already, just because of how amazing Sabatahir is. She's definitely one of my like auto read authors for me. I adore her so much, and I just, she, the woman that she is, you know, like she is up there for me. And so holding this book in my hands and reading it is such a fun experience, and I'm so grateful that I get to live in a time where she exists and she gets to write her books and I get to read them. So that is my review so far. If you couldn't tell, I'm really enjoying it, and I love the characters, love the premise, love the way that this book was written, and I have nothing but good things to say about it. So I'm gonna read a little bit more and I'll come back to you if I have another update or when I have another update. We have a lot of progress, guys. I have been reading Air all day, and I am now on page 456, and I'm definitely going to be finishing this today. I'm so excited because everything has hit the fan. So not what I thought was going to happen. Everything is happening. Everything, all of them are intertwined. All the characters are now, like, we understand what's going on, what the story is. It's just a matter of how is it going to end. And I have a feeling with Sabatahir, she's about to end it on a cliffhanger that will tear my heart out of my chest, and I am not ready for that in any sense of the word. And yet I am so excited for it as well. I flew through all these pages. It is 480 something pages, I think. So I have like maybe 50 pages, and oh my god, no, not even, I have like 30-40 pages left, and oh my god, the like cameos we get from the different characters from the Ember and the Ashes quartet are so chef's kiss. Like, Sabatahir, the woman that you are, she has so much political commentary in this book, and reading it is like, oh my god, this woman, the woman that this author is, the woman that Sabatahir is, like, genuinely, I look up to her so much as an author because she speaks on things in such a clear, distinct voice, and you get to follow along her thought process and watch the story unfold in the most beautiful and magical way possible. And I just adore her so much and adore her world so incredibly much. And I just realized that apparently this is a duology. So I'm gonna have to wait for the second book to come out, and that makes me really mad, because if this ends on a cliffhanger, or if she tears my heart out of my chest like she always does with all of her books, then I am going to be very just, you know, a wretch waiting for it, for the lack of a better word. I am definitely really enjoying it. I won't give you my rating just yet. I'm gonna wait until I finish it because I have 40 pages, and with Sabatahir, anything and everything can happen in 40 pages. So it's just a matter of, you know, is my heart gonna stay intact, or is she gonna take it and wait until next year to give it to me, which I think that's when the second book is coming out. So yeah, absolutely adoring it, loving it, enjoying it so incredibly much. I love the characters, I love the premise, I love the magic, I love just being back in this world. Feels like coming home in the best way possible. Love this woman, love this world, love the characters. All of them just are like my children. And I felt that way when I read the Ember and the Ashes series as well. And getting to see the characters from the Ember and the Ashes be in this book in the way that they are, if you've read this book, then you know, ooh, it's delicious. I love it so much. I love it so much. Like, genuinely, I wish I could be spoilery about it, but unfortunately I can't. So I have to keep my mouth shut. But just know, you saw my reaction earlier today when something happened. I love this book so much. I have finished with Air by Sabaa Tahir, and I am giving this one a good old 5 stars. This is definitely one of the best reads that I've had in this entire year. The way that it wrapped up in such a way that, mwah, chef's kiss, chef's kiss. Sabaa Tahir, the woman that you are, the genius that you are, the like incredible author, woman, genius, immaculate, just never been done before. I loved this book so much. I love Sabaa Tahir so much. I enjoyed everything about this. I loved everything about this. Definitely a 5 star, like if not even a 6 star, a 7 star. Like, I definitely recommend it. I definitely recommend all of Sabaa Tahir's writing because she is just one of my favorite authors of all time. She is definitely, like I've said before 1,000,001 times, an auto-buy, auto-read author for me. I love her, adore her writing, adore the worlds that she builds and creates, and just spends so much of her blood, sweat, and tears pouring into this world that you just feel so attached to because of how beautifully done, intricately woven together it is. So yeah, I have nothing but praise and absolute adoration for this book and for this series and for everything that Sabaa Tahir writes. I love her, adore her, just definitely recommend it. And if you haven't read anything by Sabaa Tahir yet, then I am so jealous of you because you can pick it up for the first time and get to experience Sabaa Tahir for the first time, because I don't get that luxury with all of her books so far. So definitely gonna be looking forward into the next book of the series, and I can't wait until it's announced. So the next book that I will be reading that is on my highly anticipated list of reads for the second half of the year is none other than Daydream by Hannah Grace, which is the author of Icebreaker. This is a book set in the Icebreaker world, along with Icebreaker and Wildfire. I read Wildfire a little bit earlier in the year in the video where I had my cats pick my reads, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Loved that book, loved Icebreaker so much. I really love the way that Hannah Grace writes, and I love the characters that she creates. They feel so like real and human and flawed and just so fun to read about. Her books are always so fun. I always love reading her writing, and I think she is one very talented author. This book follows Henry and Hallie, and I believe she helps him study for something, and we do get to see a lot of Henry in Wildfire and also in Icebreaker, so we already know a little bit about him before we even get into this book, which makes me so excited. I absolutely adore Hannah Grace as a person and as an author, and this book is 427 pages. I'm sure I will fly through it because that tends to happen with Hannah Grace writing. I tend to just eat it up immediately in like 1 or 2 sittings. I've heard that she actually put the most of herself in Henry in this book, so I'm very excited to get to know him and get to see his own story, his own romance and everything, and I'm just so freaking excited. I'm genuinely so looking forward to reading such a fun romance because Hannah Grace writes the most fun and entertaining cast of characters and just like scenes, and I look at her writing so fondly from reading both Icebreaker and Wildfire, and so I'm very excited for this. Her books always go so very highly rated for me, and I'm sure that this one will follow along with the rest of the high ratings. So very excited. I will be picking this up, and I will let you know when I have an update because this is one I've been looking forward to reading for a very long time.
Daydream, and I don't know why I keep wanting to call it Daydreamer. It's not Daydreamer, it's literally called Daydream. I am on page 127 on chapter 13, and I am really enjoying this. I don't think this will be my favorite out of the what is the name of out of the Maple Hills series so far. I think that will always be Icebreaker just because of the time that I read it and the fact that it was my very first Hannah Grace romance book that I've ever read, and also because it was one of the very first like very spicy books that I've ever read. And so I remember like feeling the shock and the craziness behind it, and reading Icebreaker felt like such a different experience for some reason, even though I do read a lot of romance. I don't think this will be my favorite, but I do think that it is a very, very good book. This is for the eldest sisters of the families. Follow Henry and Hallie, and Hallie is this girl who is the like eldest in the family, and she is used to being like the person who steers the family when everything needs to be solved or everything needs to be like talked through or stuff like that. Like she's the one who is in charge of the family, and she's dating this guy who her family's friends with his family, and so they can't really break up, but he starts this book by breaking up with her because she's not really feeling him like that, because she feels like she's broken maybe, so she's not really in love with him even though they've been best friends for like 10 years. And we follow Henry, who is failing one of his classes, and he is the captain of the hockey team, and he is going through so much because he doesn't know how to voice his thoughts and emotions without like just period. He doesn't know how to, voice his thoughts and emotions. And so it's hard for him to be like, hey, I don't want to be captain of the hockey team because it's not for me. And he doesn't know how to really talk to people. And he's very like quiet. And like when you don't know him, he kind of comes off like he's not, I don't know, like when that makes so much sense. I know. He helps her and she helps him, and it's like the cutest thing I've ever read about. Both of them are really, really adorable. Like with Nate and Stassi or Russ and Aurora, it was a completely different feeling reading them versus reading this one, because I feel like I relate to Hallie a lot. I relate to Hallie the most, I think, out of all the women in the Maple Hills universe, because she is the eldest daughter and she's going through all these things and she feels like she can't do anything for herself because she puts everybody else first. She's the people pleaser and she's going through all these things and doesn't know how to do things for herself and put herself first. And so I feel like I see a lot of myself in her. It's very, very adorable. It's really cute. I really like them together. Actually, they have a lot of chemistry from the very beginning, and it's really fun to see it grow and turn into something more than just what it is in the beginning. And yeah, I'm really, really enjoying myself and my time with this book. I didn't think that I wouldn't. I definitely have been looking forward to this book, and I always look forward to whenever there's a new Maple Hills book because they're just so fun to read and they're so quick to get through. And so I feel like this is definitely meeting the mark, and it's making me so happy to read about these characters, be back in this world, and see the mentions of the characters from the other two books in this book. So I'm having a great time, grand old time, and I definitely recommend starting with Icebreaker. I've been reading a little bit more of Daydream, and I'm on page 281, I think. Oh my god, I was just on that page. Yeah, I'm on page 281 on chapter 27, and this book is 400 something pages. So I have like 100 and something pages left, and I just wanted to update you guys because I felt like I didn't mention how much I absolutely adore how much communication there is between these two characters. Like with Hallie and Henry, they're both so communicative with communicative? Is that a word? I don't know. I'm gonna use it anyways. They're so communicative. It just doesn't sound right. Like why doesn't it sound right? Is it right? I don't know. They communicate really well with each other, and they really have great communication. Like, genuinely, if something is bothering the other, they're so good at talking to each other and checking with each other and seeing where the other person is, if they're good, if they're not good, if they like something, if they don't like something. I think Henry is so good at like talking to Hallie the way Hallie needs to be talked to, and so good at like understanding where she's coming from with half of the things that she says. And I think that's so so heartwarming to see in a character, because I just don't like men in real life. Most of them, the ones that I know, don't really know how to communicate. And so seeing a character like Henry, who is so able to communicate with Hallie and like tell her what is going on, and like even when he's going through something, he's able to tell her that, is so heartwarming to see. And genuinely, it's such a great example of what a relationship should be. It's like telling you, or like showing you what a healthy communicative relationship should look like. Why does that word feel wrong? I just don't get it. Though it took Henry a while to like see and understand his emotions towards Hallie, I think he did it in such a way that makes you like understand where he's coming from. And I think that's so necessary when you're reading a book like this, because it's like something that you should aspire for. Like, there's some relationships, like the dark romances that I read, where I read them and I'm like, I would rather die than end up in a relationship like this. With this book, I'm like, I wish more people were in relationships like this, where they can communicate freely and feel heard and understood and not judged whenever they say something or whenever they speak about how they're feeling. So yeah, I just really wanted to tell you guys that I just genuinely really love how they communicate. If you hate the miscommunication trope, then you would absolutely adore this book, because they're so good at communicating their feelings and thoughts and everything they're going through to each other, that it's so refreshing to see. Probably gonna finish it because I don't really have much left. Like, I have good night. I have this much left, so it really shouldn't take me long to finish it. Right now it's 11:30 in the morning, obviously. Why did I have to specify? Anyways, yeah, so I'll probably be finished within the next couple of hours, and then we can talk about it. But yeah, really, really enjoying it. Really love how well they communicate. Finished with Daydream, and I'm giving it 4.25 stars. It's not my favorite of the trilogy. Like I've said, the trilogy that's published right now, because I think there's more books coming out later in the future, but it's not my favorite of the three that I've read so far. I think my favorite, like I've said, will always be Icebreaker, and I will say I think this will come in second place, right before the third, which will be Wildfire, because I think I like this one a little bit more than Wildfire, just because of the characters and how much I related to them. In Wildfire, I didn't really relate to the characters all that much, so it wasn't really like that I felt that much for them. Like, I did see parts of myself in both Russ and Aurora, but not as much as I see myself in Henry and Hallie. I think there is so much of myself and like traits that I have and thoughts that I have portrayed so well in both of these characters and both of the situations that they are in, and how they deal with them and how they go through like situations and stuff like that. And so I feel like I enjoyed this a little bit more than Wildfire, but I enjoy Hannah Grace's writing. Literally, she could write anything and I would still eat it up every time, because she writes such a fascinating and fun story and like characters that you wouldn't think would be a thing, and yet they are, and they're so fun to read about. And I really, really adored how these characters handled like conflict and how they spoke to each other and how they worked through everything together. Like I said, if you are a miscommunication trope hater, then you will absolutely adore this one, because miscommunication is not seen It's not even a word in their vocab in this book. I loved it, enjoyed it, adored it. Love Henry so much and love Hallie even more. What a great reading week I'm having because of the great books that I'm reading. Like I said, I really enjoy it, and I think I will definitely be reading more of Hannah Grace's writing, and I think she will be one of those authors that I just gravitate towards because of the fun stories that she writes that have so much depth to them even though they're fun as well. And I definitely recommend it. I don't know if you could tell from all the praise I just gave it, but you should definitely read something by Hannah Grace because I think it's a fun story, and if you are looking for a fun romance that has a little bit of depth to it, then these books are the ones that you've been missing. So yeah, absolutely loved it. We are on to the last book of this video that I am so very excited for. This was the book that I actually decided to make this video because I believe in the first one, maybe I read a book by the author as well. I think I have. I did. If I remember correctly, the first most anticipated books video that I read also had a book by this author, and so I felt like I might as well continue it on to this video, and that is going to be The Striker by Anna Huang, and I'm so freaking excited because this was hinted at in the King of Sloth is a book that I read in that video, and this was hinted at so much because Sloane from that book, the main character of that book, is also the PR person for Asher Donovan, and so we get to know about him and how much of a mess he is through that book. And I remember being like, oh my god, why are we reading so much about him? And then I found out that this was the next book that she was going to be releasing and that he was going to be the main character of. So I'm very excited. I have no idea what this is about, but all I just read was she's his rival's sister. Say less. When it comes to Anna Huang, yes. That's it. That's all I have to say. I love that woman. I love everything that she writes. I love the worlds that she's created. She is a genius. She is incredible, amazing, just lovely, mind-blowing. I love her. I love reading her books. I always get so lost in them and I read them so incredibly fast. So I'm very excited. And though this is actually ginormous, I don't even know how many pages this is. Oh, it's almost 600 pages. I know I'm going to fly through it because I always fly through her books. So I'm not really worried about it. Nor am I intimidated by it either. I just know that I'm gonna fly through it because that's what I usually do with Anna Huang's books. So I'm very excited. Let's go do it. Started reading The Striker by Anna Huang, and I am now on page 124, and I am loving this so much. It's basically about this girl and this guy. She is a ballerina and he is a soccer player, football player if you're in Europe, and he gets into this trouble with his rival and he has to train with cross train with the ballerina, and she happens to be the ballerina, but she's the sister of his rival, and so they can't do anything because she's the sister of his rival, and she had an ex that played soccer and traumatized her forever, and she's sworn off any person that's in the sport, and they just have so much chemistry. Anna Huang is so good at building up chemistry between two characters and at building scenes that make you root for the characters and want them to be together. And it's just so funny and so lighthearted and so easy to read and just so quick to get through. I am really enjoying my time with it. I'm really, really loving it. Like I said, with Anna Huang, even though her books are ginormous, I never feel intimidated because I know I'm gonna fly through them. It's the same as when I read like a Lauren Asher book. I know that they're gonna be huge and they're gonna look huge and they're gonna be like 500, 600 pages, but every time I enjoy them so much. And so I never feel like I don't want to read them or feel intimidated by them. I just get so excited. Like the more content, the better for me. And that's how I feel about this book. I feel like I'm really going to love the characters and I'm really going to love them being together. But right now, like I said, I'm only 124 pages in. The chemistry is just beginning. We're just beginning to see what their dynamic is like, how they're together, what kind of people they are separately, what their backstory is, what their struggles are. And I love them both so incredibly much. I think I'm really going to enjoy this. And just like, you know, ahead of time, I'm already saying it now. I think this is going to become one of my faves from Anna Huang. So I hope I don't let myself down by saying that and having too many high expectations, but I don't think that's going to be a problem because she always delivers and I always adore her writing. And I think this is going to be the same with this one as well. So I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna read for a little bit more and then I will let you know how I feel about this because I cannot put this book down.
To hear about it. So I finished with The Striker and I am giving this one a 4.5 stars to a 5-star. I haven't really made up my mind yet. I will tell you that I was right. It is absolutely one of my faves of Anna's writing. She went off with this one. The backstory, the way that the characters they felt the most real. Out of all of the characters in the Anna universe, I think this one felt the most real and she had like little cameos of other characters from other universes, which made me so happy because I did not expect that at all. I expected this one to be like I knew we were gonna get Sloane from King of Sloth, but I did not know that we were gonna have other characters in here from other universes, which was such a fun little surprise. I did not expect it at all. I was so pleasantly surprised and so happy to read about the characters that we love and adore so incredibly much. I really enjoyed it, really loved it. I think these characters felt so real and flawed and human, especially Asher. I think he's one of my favorite men of the Anna universes. He's up there. He's not the number one, but he's up there and I adore him and I adore every character in this book and I'm so excited for the next book in this series. I think it's gonna be so fun and I think this universe is gonna become one of my faves because I love sports romances, and so I think if you enjoy sports romances then I think you would really enjoy this one. The spice was done really well. I really liked the characters, really loved the conflict and how it was handled, and I just adored it so much and I flew through it. I mean, it's like a 600, 500 page book and I read it in 2 days. So that's pretty impressive for me because I am pretty close to a reading slump. So yeah, loved it, adored it. And with that being said, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books, what your opinions are about them, because I had the best time this week reading some of the most entertaining and the best books ever. This has been one of the most successful reading weeks I think I've had in a very long time. And so I'm very happy about that. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched all the way to the end, that means the world to me. I hope you have the very best day. Treat yourself to something nice and I'll see you guys again next week with another video. Goodbye.